Next question here is, could you expand on the idea of secret covens, casting certain individuals using numerology and gematria to lasso people to spiritual possession, taking them out to pass entities to the new host? Okay. And I could tell you personally that I get into less of this kind of thing these days. And it's only because I find it as having almost no value anymore, especially since we're going into 2020 here, and it's time for us to stop looking into other people's situations and other people's lives and start paying attention to what's going on with self, and realizing that all is self and that many people are not exposed to the same level of knowledge and awareness and even moral bearing that you are. Like even your great grandmother probably had little to no access to some of the mindful tools that we have today. So her frenzy about Jesus may be a direct result of that. But the build is for us to actually, since grandma's DNA is contained within us, now that we have access to all this stuff, to make that upgrade internally, to continuously take all of what we are as a collective forward, or bring it into balance, right? Get the equations happening to where they're balanced and equal and even. That's what we want to do. That's why it becomes so hard for anybody to get out of this place, because when they start thinking about equal and even, they always have something that they don't feel equal to, or they don't feel even with, or that they're trying to put themselves above, or that they feel below. You see how that's all over the place? It's like the stars and the actors. Star and the actor does something, and this star and the actor, now that person is above you, okay? And then, this person and all the things that they cause and they do, now that person, I'm way better than them because I'm awoke. Now the person is below you. But truly, you're messing your own stuff up. If it'd be better for you to sit in a room for a while to stop doing that, that would be the best for you. Rather than jumping onto a news channel, jumping onto the latest conspiracy channel, and downloading more of this, because we have so much of it. I've been in this 10 years, so I know the body of conspiratorial knowledge on the internet, and it helps the neophyte get fired up to make decisions. However, the long haul, not the quarter horse, but the one that is running the whole race, finds out that only has a certain amount of use. And now, instead of pointing the fingers at everybody else, one has to begin to focus on self. So let's talk about how this would work instead of in the secret covens with dark possessions and all that. Let's talk about how it would work in the realm of harmonics, like with your family. When you go and do the math or the ma'at with your family members and say, okay, he's a 6. Oh, wow, she's a 4. And this is done by the way, for any of those that are just tuning in today, what I was just showing up here is basically this numerological correspondence, which we call enealogy and also Joydish numerology. You will see here there's a number. Okay, so Saturn is number 8. And that number actually is calculated so easy. It's actually the day of birth, not the whole date of birth, 10/22/78, that's my date of birth. But it's the 22, the actual day I was born, on the 22nd, which makes me a 4. Okay, so you can do this number and calculation for yourself really easy. You just 6 plus 2, and I was born on the 21st. 2 plus 1 is 3, so I'm a 3. Okay, so with a 3, and of course we get into this knowledge at length and in depth at Ambassador Training. We always welcome anybody on this call that wants to know more about this. This is just an overview, but wants to know more about themselves. And most importantly, just knowing something is not always the biggest way to learn something. It's experiencing it and being around others that are actually experiencing it. And that's what Ambassador Training is for, in sovereignty mentorship. But as you see here, there's a number that corresponds to here. And we're going to get 4 and 7 in here shortly. It's just 4 and 7 don't correspond to the days of the week. Those actually correspond to the ecliptics of the moon, North Node and South Node, respectively. But here you will find there's a number. So if you're a number 2, this means that you're a moon. Okay, so if you're born on the 11th, if you're born on the 2nd, this means that you're born on you're the archetype of the moon. And so these are the colors that strengthen you. These are the elements that strengthen you and get you electrochemically balanced. These are the herbs that correspond to this day and bring in that same energy of Monday. Obviously, that's the moon. That is our third eye chakra, in this tense subconscious. Also, I will bring a note here to When we investigated these systems of correspondences deeply, and remember, this has been going on for years. This is not something we just found something and there it is. For years and years, we've been updating this system of correspondences, and now it is the most precise. What we found, though, is that the chakras don't actually align with the days of the week like that. They don't. You'll find lots of charts on the internet that say they do, but that's because they're guessing. They're literally guessing. They'll literally say, well, because I think the energy, and this is Capricorn, then it kind of would be, and it's just a guess. But the reason why you won't find those correspondences like that in ancient times is because the chakras themselves actually function within several numbers at times. Like even the root chakra is actually assigned to 2 different numbers, and it's just like that. So you won't find those direct correspondences with the chakras, but what we did was we put the highest level of the correspondence. You find the frequencies, you find the numbers, you find the ruling signs, you find the parts of the body like the anatomy, and you find the resonant numbers. This means other numbers that resonate. Number 1 resonates, number 7 resonates, and number 4 resonate. That means that people that are on those paths will be and have a tendency to be more harmonic, while the other numbers may be a bit more of a challenge. Now, we like challenges at times because they allow us to explore different aspects of self, but it is just a stage of awareness that there are people that will naturally appear as they're challenging you. And that has to do a lot of times with their numerical disposition, okay? And so, again, the reason why this knowledge is so important because it brings in these answers to all of these questions, and it brings in this level of connection with self. And I'll continue what I was saying is, so what happens then is so we talk about bringing this into a practical setting. So what happens is if you start calculating what's going on around you, you will find also, because you always summarize the number. So if you have a number 5, you have a number 7, you have a number 3, you have a number 2, and this is all in the same family. You guys spend all your time in the house together. You add all those numbers up and then it equates to a number. And then that number it equates to is like the overall energy that the house would be most dynamic in. Okay? And that's how this power works. So if you know that energy is not propelling you in the direction that you want to go, then you find the direction that you want to go, because everything that you can do under the sun is in these days of the week. So you say, well, I really want to bring in more of the Venus kind of energy, or I really want to have this house more like the guru kind of energy. Then you go to that particular number and you find those correspondences and you start doing that in the house. Burn some sage, burn some cypress, bring some silver plates in. Get somebody to drink, some family members to drink some pearl powder. You see what I mean? So play these frequencies, lace these frequencies over the top of tracks. Bring some water in and some fountains into the environment. Like this could be classified even as the feng shui. Start making sure that these areas are strengthened and clear. That's how you would change the resonance in an environment to equate to the results that you're looking for. So rather than thinking of this always being used to take spiritual possession and control people and all that kind of stuff, it's easier to see actually all these forces that we're titling demonic and all this kind of stuff and just call them opportunists. It's easier because then you're not triggering certain things that actually have now become labeled with certain energies and have energies surrounded by. When you say demon, it's like you're saying the word nigger. To be honest, like on the spiritual plane, it's like when you say that word, it's like that's how it makes other beings feel that you can't see when you say that. You know, that's just some word to the wise who can't see beyond anything that their eyes can see, right? That when you use certain words, you offend beings that are around you, just like you would use guttural words that offend people that are around us in our matrix, in our dimension, because then you're just saying a word and you're trying to group everything into that one word. And that would be just like you trying to group a whole group of people into one word and say they're all like that. And then that word being somewhat now deemed derogatory. I want you to remember that. So it's better to say opportunist, because what happens is, as I said in my podcast just recently, is that you have many beings around you. Almost every being is trying to find an opportunity, trying to find a way here. And who is going to limit that? And who is going to say what are the boundaries of that? That's the Saturnalian principle that actually tries to map out those boundaries and maps out those boundaries and keeps those rules going on. But what I'm saying is that That's what's happening in the reality, is that you have even large families that are opportunists. But in order for that to work properly, they have to have a mathematician. That's why you got Kabbalists, right? Like they do all the numbers and this is the favorable day and name him this to accomplish this endeavor, say these words. All that stuff is all just numerology. It's just gematria. Of course, it's going to be put on the pedestal because even sometimes for stuff to have power, it needs to be on a pedestal. And I talked about this last night in our ambassador training about, see, knowledge right now is given away so freely, people don't even really get the value of it. But back in the day, if you had to cross over a moat, defeat a dragon, and then it was there on top of a rock in the midst of lava, if you finally got the book, you would believe every single thing that it says in it. And you would hold it and protect it because of what you went through to get it. Now we're getting this high power of knowledge because it's really time draws nigh. We need it now. Those who are awake need this knowledge. But it doesn't come under this guise of the auspiciousness of what it really is about how hard it is to obtain it. It's just given to you right here on the internet. And sometimes that's the drawback of all of this. But make that a benefit, that you don't have to go through all those obstacles to get it. You will go through obstacles, if you may, to master it, to become strong in it. But to receive it, don't pass over its value just because you got it so easy and it's there on the website. Because to believe it or not, these pages, as Google Analytics tells us, they don't get much feedback. They never actually, even on the original site, got much feedback. So there's still not thousands and thousands of people that are aware of this knowledge. It's in the hundreds still. And even less people who actually know it and are able to pop it off and even incorporate it into the way they build things in their lives. Okay? And we're hitting that 10:45 mark, so I'm going to see what exactly I can do on rapid fire. Let's go and activate rapid fire mode. I need a little sound bite for that. Rapid fire. So again, utilizing that power and that numerology and the beings that are around you with the archetypes in order to create and manifest the reality of the future that you're looking for, and moving your mind away from all these covens and dark, Kardashian guilds and all this shit that actually is, even when you figure it all out, you've grown none and you've wasted all your time. Start firing this stuff into how it's going to actually benefit you.